I want to go back to the inception of this project. So the film is adapted from the Swedish novel De Oonsade. Why the change of setting to England?
Yeah, I mean, so I read this book that a friend of mine had written, and I think like the very question that was at the core of the story, like how do we deal with people who can't fit into society? I was just like fascinated by that idea, so I started developing it in Sweden, but then it didn't. I mean, one thing is it didn't really take off. I mean, I think when I talked to people in Sweden about it, they were saying like, "Oh, does she really have to lock him in the basement?" You know, I mean, maybe he can have his own key and come and go as he wants. But then when I pitched it in the UK, they have a tradition of dark comedy there, so they were just like, "Yeah, lock him up," and so I thought, I mean, yeah, and also I think there's like lots of similarities between the UK and Swedish society and also the school system.
And in terms of the school system, too, I feel like for a U.S. audience, it's quite applicable, especially with the crisis of public education here, and even on a global scale, too. Was that also on your mind?
Yeah. I mean, when there's fewer resources, that's when, you know, this system doesn't work, and to me that's sort of what leads to what Maria is doing. Like she's kind of pressured into the situation by the system. It's kind of it's a system where you try to place people into boxes, even regardless of what shape they are, and once you don't have any resources for it, it just becomes impossible, I think, and that's what she finds.
And I read that you and your screenwriter both have teaching experience. Did that also inform the direction or themes in the film?
Yeah. I mean, I worked a bit like a film teacher, so I traveled around to different schools and taught them about filmmaking. So I also felt with the teacher in the story, and like this very, you know, difficult thing it is to try to control a large room of children. Like I remember I was teaching this group of children about the magic of filmmaking, sort of, and I came there and I was all like hyped up about it, and I was going to inspire them, and they were going to make films on iPads. So I had a pile of iPads on my desk, and the first thing they did was that they took all the iPads and they put on an alarm every minute, and they changed the password. So then I started speaking like, "Oh, what is filmmaking? And cinema is a language," or something like that. Then these alarms just started going off all the time. And children can be like, they can find your weak spots, sort of, and push them quite easily. So, I think like that, those sort of experience also informed this film, of course.
But you didn't lock anybody up?
No, I didn't.
Just making sure. Let's talk about Saoirse Ronan. She was magnificent in this film, and I feel like this is the most callous character she's played since maybe Atonement. If those of you who've seen Atonement know what I'm talking about. What was like? How did you find her?
Well, I mean, Saoirse is one of the greatest actors of my generation, so I really wanted to work with her, and I had seen all these great films that she had been in, but then I also saw this SNL skit where she played a flight attendant, and I sort of felt like she was a kind of a good teacher, a good person of authority, and and also she has great comedic timing, which I think we should see more often, I think, from her. I mean, she's been playing lots of dramatic parts. So anyway, we sent the script to her, and we thought that it was going to take a long time for her to get back to us, and we were probably going to get a no. And she was my first choice, but then she responded within a week, and then she wanted to meet. And I mean, I think she was excited about playing someone who does the wrong thing and who doesn't always do the right thing. And so, yeah, she was great to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously Myriad did a lot of horrible things, but also we kind of feel for her. Was this kind of ambiguity, was that something you worked with her on? Yeah,
I mean, I think you get a lot that also with Saoirse, because you sympathize so much with her. I think so you can follow her down a very dark hole, but still sort of trust her, even when she starts doing really bad stuff. So yeah, that was definitely something that I wanted.
And expanding this ambiguity onto the rest of the cast too, I feel like everybody has a very gray morality, like there's good and evil in each person. How did you write this complexity in the script?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think that's what humans are. I mean, we all have a kind of gray morality, I guess. But I guess I wanted that in the film, and I think maybe it reflects on the title too, like Bad Apples. I think there's several bad apples in this film, not just one.
And I think not just Saoirse, it's also the child actors that brought this complexity to the screen as well, especially Eddie Waller, who plays Danny, and Nia Brown, who plays Pauline. They're so incredible. Tell us about the casting process for the children.
Yeah, it was a long process, especially like finding Danny. Nia we found quite early on, who plays Pauline. So she was, and she was just brilliant from the start. And she just found the character and understood it immediately. But it was really hard to find Danny. I think because the whole film just really it depended on him and his qualities. Like if we don't believe that he's kind of a menace in this class, like he has this anger right underneath his skin that can explode at any minute, then it doesn't work. So we tried lots of great child actors, but then and we were like just a few months away from shooting when Fiona Weir, our casting director, finally found this boy Eddie Waller, who lives in the north of England, and he had such an interesting quality. So yeah, and then finally when we shot this first classroom scene, that was when I was the most relieved after a shooting day, because it was just like, yes, this is going to work. People are going to understand this story now.
They're just so incredible, and I'm very impressed that you managed to coax that kind of performance out of the kids. Was there a workshop or anything that you did with them?
Yeah, we did rehearsals, and the first one was really chaotic, I remember. It was just like, yeah, it gave me flashbacks of my teaching days. But yeah, and then we did lots of rehearsals. With Eddie, I think he rehearsed for 2 weeks with him, or even more. Yeah, so, but I mean, I think one thing with child actors is that it's great when they can improvise, and if they can feel like this is kind of a game that they can play. So I mean, for example, there's the scene when they play the video game. That's just completely improvised. So I just set up this video game, and they could play it for real. And then they didn't have to say the words that were on the page, so they could just like improvise anything. Afterwards, Eddie, who plays Danny, he said like, "Yeah, Saoirse, she's really shit. She's terrible at this video game. She's just letting me score time and time again." And yeah, that was a fun scene to shoot, I remember.
Was there any improvisation with Saoirse as well?
Yeah. She improvised a lot, and she followed along with the kids who improvised also. And sometimes we did a version of the scene that was just completely improvised, and sometimes we did it as it was in the script. And then in the edit, you can choose what you want. But I feel like it's usually a good way to get a more natural feeling in the acting. Yeah.
And I feel like the score and the editing also helped so much with this heightened like nervousness and this dread. Tell us about that process.
Yeah, I mean, the editor is a guy called Robert Krantz, who I've worked with him for a long time. We went to the same school, and he's great. And he was also like, involved in the development, and he had lots of great ideas. And then the score, that was Chris Rowe, who's a great British composer. We listened to a lot of classical music. I mean, I felt like I wanted it to be quite orchestral and dramatic. So we listened to like a lot of Michael Newman and Bartok and all kinds of things. But then he also found all these weird instruments, like some kind of weird, extremely large saxophone. I remember I was with him when he recorded the orchestra. But I guess one idea that was in the score was that it should always have a constant pulse. It should just it's like a hammer that keeps on hammering. It's like a machine that you can't stop, which is kind of the situation that she's gotten herself into. It's just like this thing that she can't stop at all. And it's like the system that's just overpowering her, I think. So that was sort of the idea behind the score. And Chris Rowe did an amazing job with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was completely immersed. I think we can open up some... Yes. Very fast.
This was incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's clear that you knew the writer of the novel and you were involved in the screenwriting. Do we have any idea, did you ever talk about what happens after? After he escaped? Everybody knew he was in there.
The question is about what happens after the ending.
Yeah. I mean, that's up to you to decide, of course. Yeah, it's an ending. I watched Shawshank Redemption during the shoot, actually. It was playing in the cinema in Bristol where we shot it. And that one has a lot of endings. You really follow him to the very end. But I think it's really up to you to decide. I mean, I always feel like he's free and he's gonna reunite with his dad. But then again, he's in this community who've all decided that he should be in a basement. Are they gonna accept him now when he comes back? What's gonna happen? I really don't know. I think it's up to you to think about it.
Were there other films that you watched in preparation for this film?
I watched a lot of Todd Solondz. I watched me and Saoirse. We watched Frederick Wiseman's High School, which is a documentary. There's a scene where this teacher, she plays a song for the class. It's like one of her most favorite personal songs. And then the children are really not interested. So we watched that, and we kind of felt like there has to be a scene like that in the beginning of the film to establish Saoirse's character. And I mean, I always watch lots of films, so there's lots of films that inspired me for this. Yeah.
We can take another question if there are any. Anybody? Yes.
Was Welcome to the Dollhouse one of the films you watched?
Yeah. Welcome to Dollhouse is great. Yeah. Definitely. I love Todd Solondz. And I mean, I also watched. I made a list of a lot of films for Saoirse. There's a Swedish film, I think it's called Who Saw Him Die in English. It's by Jan Troell. It's called Ole Dole Doff in Swedish. And it's also about a teacher who's just being terrorized by his students. And it's a great film. It's like a psychological horror film from the 60s. Yeah, and Dead Poets Society, which is kind of like what you dream as a teacher that teaching would be like. Election is great too. Yeah, that's a good. Do you have a question?
Is it coming out anytime soon?
Yeah, I think it's going to come out in the spring, but it's still being worked on. It has a cinema release anyway.
There any other questions back there? Yes.
Yeah, hi. I was thinking it was great, and it was a great thing because the mental health thing for children, it's a big untalked about thing. But I was also thinking how fun it would be if we made it into like a TV show. Consider that?
The-
This is running down the road now, so there's a whole world of them.
Yeah, and I mean, you could come with.
The question is about the possibility of a TV show.
Okay. I think sure. Why not? I mean, someone has to come to me with an idea of how to do that. But yeah, it's a good idea.
We can take one last question if there are. Yes, right here.
While I was watching the film, I mean, obviously the main character, Maria, is very morally gray, but I kind of wondered when you were making it whether you had any sort of moral takeaway for the audience in mind.
The question is about the moral takeaway for the audience.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I want people to look themselves in the mirror and think about like how we are complicit in the suffering of others and how we kind of try to justify our being complicit for ourselves in order to live in this society and in this world. I think it's that's something that always. That I'm always thinking about, like how can we really live in this world when so many other people are suffering? So I think that was kind of, for me, the kind of philosophical motor in the film, and yeah, I wanted to explore that in an entertaining way.
I think I saw one hand go up at the same time. Yes. Yeah.
I'm curious about your personal thoughts when it comes to discipline of guiding children. You know, we live in a world now that everyone want to be very kind of PC about it, even when it comes to how to handle children, how much freedom to give them, and how much they truly just want parents to really guide them and protect them. What's your personal thoughts around that?
The question is about your thoughts on disciplining children.
Disciplining children, that means like beating them, or no?
I don't know what.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think like I would. I'm not an expert, and I would probably listen to the research around like how you should treat children. I remember I made this other short film which was also about a teacher and a student, and we played it in the Czech Republic. And one of the audience members asked, like, "Oh, you people in Sweden," this was a Swedish short film, "why don't you just hit your children?" And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's I mean, really, to me, it just feels medieval to do something like that. It belongs in the Middle Ages, so I was a bit shocked, but I didn't really know what to say. And then I like looked up the research, like, you know, there's absolutely no way that helps, you know. So I should have done my research before getting that question, but I didn't.
Well, disciplining children or not, thank you so much, all, for coming tonight. And please give it up once more for Jonathan Etzler.